All right, welcome to another edition of Fansview Fridays. If this is your first time tuning into Fansview Fridays, this is a live stream of going through Kevin Lillard's old Fansview reports. Kevin Lillard has been taking photos of cosplayers, covering anime convention panels since the late 90s up to 2009. A lot of these reports have been gone for a while, and they've been saved by archive.org. And this is just our effort to hope to revive his reports, to share them with you all on my channel. I really believed in a lot of Kevin's work. Kevin was a good friend of mine, and I just want to do this as a way to just preserve fandom history. I don't get paid to do this. What you're hearing right now is a genuine human voice through a Visona. So none of this is done by AI. And I don't intend to work with AI anytime soon. So with that said, let's go through a fan's view at Otakon, August 10th through 12th, 2001 in Baltimore, Maryland. And we can see here our actors Doug Smith and Tiffany Grant attended the big Inner Harbor event. So let's take a look at some pictures from Cosplay Past. And remember, a lot of these photos of cosplayers, these are cosplayers from the early 2000s. So we were just still figuring things out before Amazon, before we had access to a lot of these cosplay online stores. And these are going to be a lot of images, so do bear with and enjoy the trip down memory lane. All right, so we're looking at Friday morning costumers. This was at the old Baltimore Convention Center. I can say I've had the pleasure of checking out Otakon when it was here in Baltimore. Okay, just kind of going through. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, I do remember a lot of these hallways, these glass panels. I actually had a friend who was coercing me to join them for Otakon this particular year. Alas, technically, if I wanted to, I could have. Because I remember during this time, during Otakon weekend, our house was being fumigated. I should just ask my dad nicely, like, hey, do we want to take a trip over to Baltimore? Like, there's an anime convention there. Just scrolling through. And if you know any of these cosplayers, or if you know what fandom they're from, shout them out in the chat and don't forget to add the timestamp. Because I know there's a lot of Gen Z folks and a lot of Gen Alpha folks who are just wondering, like, yeah, where are these people right now? Where are they today? Are they still cosplaying? Did they end up just realizing, like, okay, maybe I should should leave this hobby? I'm still here. Reason why I'm still here is I still like documenting all this. I'm a historian by heart. I just completed Anime Los Angeles last weekend. And oh boy, that was quite a trip. And eventually we will get into Kevin Lillard's first experience with Anime Los Angeles. It wasn't a very good look, sadly to say. Okay, looks like we're running into some broken images. So once we hit next page of broken images, we're just going to move on. Okay, we got a Zenigata in a dad hat. Okay, we have Moose and Genma. I do love seeing the old school Ranma cosplayers. It does make me happy that the new anime for Ranma is bringing back a lot of these younger Ranma cosplayers. Like, yay! All right, I think that's gonna be it for Friday photos. All right, a lot of costumers jammed the halls as the time reached 12 noon on Friday. Okay, looks like we got some visual K goodness over here. We got Lorraine. I think it's Lorraine. If anyone knows, let me know in the chat. Just scrolling through. Angel Sanctuary was pretty huge back then. To tell you the truth, I love the artwork for Angel Sanctuary. Um, However, I wasn't a fan of the series. I love the artwork. I thought the story was just or if you want to call it a story, was a knockoff of X 1999, but with brother and sisterly love. I'll leave it at that. Okay, I have a story with this Digimon character right here in the flame jacket. I was supposed to cosplay as this character for a skit, but I had something going on that weekend. Someone was supposed to like, yeah, we'll just stick you in the Digimon costume, and your lines are pre-recorded. We got you. But yeah, to think that there was an alternate timeline where I was cosplaying from Digimon, and though I've never seen the series, I probably would have just asked my friends, like, yeah, can you just give me a quick primer on this particular character, what they're all about, and yeah, yeah, I had something to do that weekend. I was still in high school. I had priorities with drama club. It was my senior year, and I had like a really major role. Like, okay, anime convention or lead role in senior sad play. Lead role in senior sad play. Yeah, okay, we got Kurama. Yeah, I'm really liking the photos we're getting here so far. Not too many broken images. It looks like we're about to hit that territory. I love that Karo. It's so adorable. I remember when I used to cosplay Sakura, I would also carry a Karo plush with me too. Yeah, Card Capture Sakura is huge during this era, and so is Final Fantasy VIII. Got the Great Saiyaman. Yeah, because I just love seeing like all of Cardcaptor Sakura's outfits. And also pretty huge at the time was Trigun. Yeah, Trigun was like just like the thing back then. I mean, I even cosplayed, I presented masculine as Wolfwood. And I would do it again. Okay, we have Nariko from Fushigi Yugi. I've done this version of Utena, and I'm currently working on my version of Utena. Oh, we have Nadeshiko. I love Nadeshiko. We have Dryden from Escaflowne. We have Jessica de Alkirk from Star Ocean Game. It's been a while, people. I just know she likes money, and who doesn't? Be a gopher today. I do like that sign. Be a gopher today. Oh, that's an awesome Umi. Looks like we have Ogami. Asuka and Shinji. I love the energy coming from the two of them. Some character, I love it. Yeah, Fushigi Yugi, Wolfwood. Sometimes you'll get a random ninja or two. Yeah, that's the version of Utena that I'm working on, the OG version. Hopefully, I want to get it done before WonderCon. No one knows what I'm going to be from, but it's okay. It's a fandom, it's a series that makes me happy, and that's what matters in the end. Yeah, I have a lot of words about WonderCon. I like the professional development. Like, if you're a creative and you have time to do some of the professional development stuff they have there, it's great, but I don't know, are the vibes, the social vibes there are just like a huge turn off for me. Like, I just stick with myself and I just stick with friends at WonderCon. That's why, like, I mentioned my KumoCon reports. Like, I'm not used to people being this nice. Well, save for that one photographer who just kind of ran away with my photos. This is why I don't trust photographers, people. All right, the rain didn't stop costumes from gathering on Friday night. Oh man, we got a box of Pocky. I love it. Got Tenchi Muyo. Yeah, very nostalgic for some Tenchi Muyo. Around this era, Kevin started taking more and more photos because he realized he was getting a lot of site traffic. As conventions are going on, people were identifying friends. Because that's what we would do. Like, if we weren't at the convention, but we had our friends from, like, the online universe there, we would just find their photos, link it over on, like, a forum, and be like, yeah, like, we found your photo here. It was tagging before tagging was ever a thing. Aw, movie Utana, I appreciate that. It's so strange because I carry around a traditional digital camera with me at conventions. I take photos of cosplayers and sometimes I'll get the occasional, like, hey, tag me on Instagram. Like, I don't post my photos on Instagram, honey. I post them on Flickr, and last I checked, you can't tag an Instagram on Flickr. You're just gonna have to be like everyone else, just scroll through the galleries and find your photo. I mean, that's why what I liked about this experience, just kind of scrolling through Kevin's website, because you can also see just various, um, you can see like just a lot of cosplayers. You can get some inspiration, like, oh hey, that's how they did that. Because I just kind of feel like you're, in a way, you're also supporting the cosplay community by just like taking time to look at cosplay photos of other people, because you're like, yeah, that looks pretty awesome. I do like that gothic goth girl Vash there. All right, I know this is future tense, but this gal here in the blonde and the white outfit reminds me of Taylor Swift at the start of the Fate of the Philaophilia video, where she's like in that white dress, just kind of like modeling to be painted and stuff. Got Yaya Han over there as Lum. Lum is one of my favorite pro tags. Like, even though she has a very lecherous love interest, like, she does not take crap from him. And I am here for it. And if I were to cosplay as Lum, I'd likely cosplay as her in, like, the school uniform. Or if she has a cute kimono, I would totally wear, like, kimono Lum too. I do love me Yuritsei Yatsura. It's like one of my favorite anime rom coms. Okay, just scrolling through. We got a lot of Friday cosplays that survived the transfer to Web Archive. We got Sailor Venus. One of these days, I would like to attempt a musical costume. It just has to be for the right thing. I remember like a while back, I wanted to cosplay as Sailor Astarte. There was a Sailor Moon cosplay group that was based out of Colorado. The group is called Yume no Senshi. And I had a couple of friends out there who's like, yeah, you should be our Sailor Astarte and you should be our Saturn. Like, yeah, I'm totally down for that. I'll figure out how to get the costume made. I'll teach myself how to sew to make Sailor Saturn. Just let's just break it down piece by piece. And I was just willing to just like, I'll figure out like how to make it to Nandescan, you know. And a lot of them are also going to California conventions and Washington conventions as well. Like, yeah, we'll figure a way to make work out. But unfortunately, that group just totally fell apart. And it's like, yeah, that ain't happening. Though it would have been nice if we've gone through with it. Things might have been a little bit different. All right, and several online mailing list groups of costumers were on hand. All right, I know there are a couple of cosplay mailing list groups, like this one right here, Cosplayers Mailing List. I was never part of the mailing list. I joined cosplay shortly after its height. And we also have American Cosplay Paradise in the mix. Then we also have the Cosmen. I love seeing some early Naruto cosplayers here. Anna, what are you doing with the Cosmen? Something you're not telling me? Okay, additional group. Yay, additional group. Go additional group. Costumers enjoy themselves in air-conditioned comfort on a muggy Saturday morning. Yeah, Otakon, because it's East Coast, it's at the height of summer. Yeah, there is quite a bit of mugginess. Yeah, just kind of going through here. Got Soul Taker. That takes me back. I've never seen Soul Taker, but I remember seeing Soul Taker cosplayers like back in the day. And we also got Animal Magnetism. We have I Want to Be an Angel. At first, I thought it was from that episode of Slayers where they become idols. It's like, Koni koni suru no mato no ki wa subushi na da 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 my darling. If anyone knows that, we can be friends. Pinky no peachy subushi da 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 da. I do love me some Slayers music. Megami Heishibara, that's where it's all at. I was also fortunate enough to see Masami Yukui when she did Jam Project at Anime Boston. Oh, check out this Chibi Moon. It's super Chibi Moon. I love it. Okay, we got Quistis. Seeing all these Final Fantasy cosplayers remind me, like, yeah, I probably should log into Final Fantasy 14 and just go forward before I hit up a con fan fest. I still have no idea what I'm wearing to fan fest. I just might just wear regular clothes. And by regular clothes, it's like, hmm. I mean, I'd like to have maybe a pair of Moogle ears. Or maybe an outfit inspired by Fatter Cat. I know people tend to go as their Warrior of Light. I don't really have a Warrior of Light costume, but I can probably just figure out one. Because per me, I'm kind of like, I want to go as like a messenger Moogle. Because I know how to make the wings. I mean, the headband shouldn't be that. Okay. Looks like this is as far as we can go with Saturday morning. Let's just take a look at what else is here. Yep. All right. And there are too many costumers to catch them all on Saturday afternoon. Yes, Fushigi Yugi. One of my favorite fandoms from back in the day. I was just kind of joking around because I was giving away Fushigi Yugi ribbons at Anime Los Angeles. And as I was giving away Fushigi Yugi ribbons, I'll talk more about this on Convention Tea. I was like, yeah, Fushigi Yugi, this was like my CW soap opera back in the day. And it's like I did not need Dawson's Creek. I did not need Friday Night Lights. I would just need Miyaka and friends going on adventures in ancient China. I did have a question to how you can earn a Fushigi Yugi ribbon at Anime Los Angeles. I first started with, hey, you've been isekai'd into ancient China. What do you do? I had like two very questionable, triggering ish remarks, and I really didn't feel comfortable asking that question. I don't want to say what the answer was because I just don't want to trigger people around me. So I just changed it to, so you've been isekai'd into the last thing you read. What is it and how effed are you? And that's how you could earn the Fushigi Yugi ribbon. Or just do something as simple as recognize my Miyaka costume. Yeah, I might do that, Sakura-con. Just give away some Fushigi Yugi ribbons. And I might give away like a KDA ribbon. I'm trying to just kind of figure out just what other ribbons I can give out at conventions. That's just kind of based on fandoms I enjoy. Aw, so sad. Aw, that's a Toski. Oh wait, panels. Not just yet. We still have to go over Saturday night costumes. All right, here are pictures from the Saturday night cosplay and Otakon contest for people who presented stage acts. Okay, let's see who performed on stage. Aw, Noriko. That's Sailor Mercury. Oh, precious Yuna. I love it. Okay. Got Mars. I want to see more cosplay contest photos. Can we get some more on the next page? Excellent. We have Uranus. I love that eternal moon. I love the choice of fabrics. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Fansview Friday. This is a weekly live stream where we look at cosplay photos and convention reports from the past. Right now, we are looking at Otakon 2001. Okay, looks like we got some broken images here. No. All right, looks like that section is dead. Sad. All right, well, all these pictures come from the costume contest for fans who wanted to make a brief walk on appearances. Okay, so he looks like Kevin separated the gallery from people who did skits and people who did walk ons. Oh, snap, a Claudia cosplayer. I forgot what Claudia's last name was in Robotech, but I'm just happy to see, like, oh my god, people remember Claudia. Of course, this is back in 2001. But even then, Robotech was just kind of there ish. Because we all know about Robotech versus Macross. And I think at the time, and still now, I'm very much Team Macross. But I also understand and also have better framework of like of the impact Carl Masick had on the industry. So that I can't deny. My issue is just our has more to do with what's going on in present day, present time with Robotech versus Macross. Like, I'm never going to hate on Carl Masick. He's done a lot for the anime industry and what it is today. However, just current negotiations and situation with Harmony Gold, present day, present time with Big West, it's like, it's a hot mess. Aw, this Trigun group is pretty awesome. It's a pretty awesome Gundam. Nice. Okay, that's it for photos. Yes, these photos are from 2001. These are taken by my late friend Kevin Lillard. And here's a list of champions in each costuming category. All right, let's take a look. All right, looks like an X 1999 skit one. X 1999 is like one of my favorite animes of all time. And I see it looks like the host is cosplaying as Lupin the Third. Yeah, we got Satsuki, yeah, we got, um, yeah, we got like almost all of them here. Yeah, I should know because I use a cosplay from X 1999. Second place, I want to assume this is probably like a suit of armor, and people just kind of decostume to accept our award because I do. Maybe it's that Godzilla guy who shows up every year during that time. We also got Trigun in third place. Fourth place went to Captain Harlock. Fifth place went to Dirty Bear. Oh yeah, okay, so it was like the Godzilla versus Mechzilla. Rob Lantis Award. Giles Portraits gave out an award. I do love me some Giles Portraits. He's a wonderful guy and he's one of my mentors. Tiki's Award. Craftsmanship Award went to the Gundam. Best constructed costume went to this furry guy right here. I do love the design on that though. I love that outfit. Best portrayal of character went to the two sisters from X 1999. Best use of materials. Honorable mention for attention to accessories and detail. Tiki's Award, Rob Lantis Award, and Giles Portraits Award went to Claudia. Additional awards, and that's that. Finally, I look at some of the costuming groups in Baltimore. Okay, I guess these are just going to be cosplay group shots. Looks like we have Trigun, a little bit of Cardcaptor Sakura, some Cat Girls, Angel Sanctuary, people in just Y2K fashion just hanging out. I still love it when people take photos of people, not necessarily in cosplay, but they're dressed up for the event, even if they're like in what we would call street clothes. Okay, just coming through here. Yeah, Miles Meeser. We have X1999. Yeah, we got Utena. Awesome stuff. All right, that concludes photos of cosplayers from Otakon 2001. Let's take a look at the panels at Otakon. People in the industry spoke about some of the titles they plan to release. So, what is going to be released and what are the announcements at Otakon 2001? David Williams of ADV Films displayed the box set for the upcoming Robotech DVD release. He and Matt Greenfield of the Texas company said they had the rights to the soundtrack of the Robotech movie, but not the video. So the company planned to show the soundtrack with storyboards as a DVD extra. Other ADV titles mentioned at Otakon: Neo Ranga, the CGI Cutie Honey, Sakura Wars TV series, and the Spriggan movie, which was still planned for the theatrical release in a few months with a widescreen print and a digital soundtrack. Then there's the company plans to release the bizarre Super Milk-chan, one of the strangest series ever. Visitors to the Bandai booth at Otakon saw this big trade show display that has traveled to the largest anime conventions in recent years. Jerry Chu of Bandai said the Baltimore convention was the display's final appearance, and the company will have more an elaborate setup for future events. No new announcements from Otakon, though. Chu said a lot is coming in 2002. Apparently, Bandai is making enough from its shows and its small kits to be considered a success, growing rapidly since the video arm of the Japanese company set up shop in the US 2 short years earlier. Remember the contest that Digital Manga had at Anime Expo to select an English language singing voice for the TV commercial for the broccoli store? The commercial was shown at Otakon, and it features new designs for the Gigi Cart mascots Broccoli uses. Only fans in the Los Angeles area where the store will be located will have a chance to see the commercial and the new Digi Cart. Also, Sync Point is planning to release more I'm Gonna Be an Angel this year and FLCL around January 2002, and the company is working hard on the planned English language version of the Japanese magazine New Type. I do remember that release. Jeff Thompson of The Right Stuff chatted with fans about the overwhelming success of DVDs and home video. After only 3 or 4 years in the market, DVDs continue to shoulder videotapes aside, and Thompson expects VHS to be all but extinct in a year or two, especially for anime releases. The video's disc popularity doesn't mean they're perfect, of course. Thompson spoke openly about the problems that Right Stuff had with irresponsible Captain Tyler disc that was a missing chapter. A couple actors chatted about their experiences and hopes. All right, let's talk some voice acting. Looks like we got Doug Smith. Well, the sub versus dub debate may have been rendered obsolete with the rise of DVDs, which offer several languages on a disc, and the appeal of voice actors hasn't changed. When actor and artist Doug Smith and Tiffany Grant appeared on a First Day Otakon panel, they drew a crowd of fans curious to learn about careers. I think that's changed, Grant said about the dub acceptance. The first convention I went to, I was afraid I was going to be stoned by the fans. I think the atmosphere has gotten to be more welcoming towards dubs, and fans don't hate us as much as they used to. Grant, who says her favorite role remains Neon Genesis Evangelion, and her favorite role is Asuka in that series, and she said she just recovered her dialogue for the end of Evangelion for Manga Entertainment. However, she has no idea when it will be released. For ADV Films, Grant is also working on the Princess Nine sports show, the story of a high school girls baseball team. Martin's successor, Nadeshiko, is my second favorite show, said Grant. The more fan you are, the more you enjoy it, and there are a lot of in-jokes. She told the audience that actors can't expect their career to take off in a year or two and have to stay with acting for years to see any results. I don't make a living as an actor. I have to work in other areas of the industry to meet my needs, having shelter. Both Grant and Smith admitted they auditioned for roles and have been turned down, but they continue to try. Grant calls Smith a live action cartoon character. He does all the little voices. Smith recalls the years when he worked for ADV Films in the art department, became known for jokes like his cross between Evangelion and Ren and Stimpy, then got a voice acting break in Golden Boy. Otherwise, he's had small roles. I was an ATF agent who got wasted in the first 15 minutes of Gunsmith Cats. I'm a lot of guys who die. When describing his acting technique, Smith recalls the time when I'm just glad I jumped up and down and acted like a total spaz in the recording booth. I'm glad padding was there. Still, Smith continues to audition for roles. There was another acting guest who drew a large crowd. Okay, let's have it here. Hikaru Midorikawa, the OG Tamahome. The panel discussions for voice actors, both Japanese language and English language performers, have been among the most popular at conventions, but few have drawn the reception of Hikaru Midorikawa, the man who voiced Tamahome in Fushigi Yugi, Hiro Yui in Gundam Wing, and Zelgadis in Slayers. Midorikawa's panel's appearance was so popular that fans overstuffed the original room scheduled for the event. While with people spilling into the hall, Otakon moved the event to a room that was twice as large. And then Midorikawa arrived, and he was met with a chorus of cheers and screams. The audience was made of mostly young women. They hung on every one of Midorikawa's words. The actor spoke exclusively Japanese, but the fans still loved the dreamy quality of his voice, begging him to deliver their favorite lines and breaking into applause and cheers when he said them. It was the most enthusiastic reception for a voice actor that this author has seen at an anime convention. Midorikawa told the audience he always wanted to be a voice actor from childhood and joined a drama club when he went to high school. After he graduated from high school, he went to work for a subsidiary of a company that also offered a school for voice acting. You have to be able to read the lines and deal with pantomiming and learn some drama terms, Midorikawa said. I went into the best of intentions to study art, but everyone was just like me and wanted to be a voice actor. Everyone else worked hard, but I just slacked off. When he started studying anime performance by other actors, when he became a professional, Midorikawa said he avoided that at acting school at the advice of his professor. He told me I shouldn't watch any anime at all because I wouldn't have any style or originality. It wouldn't be a mishmash of other styles, so I didn't watch any anime. In this business, you don't want to be a fan, you want to draw fans. So I had to go from wanting to be wanted. It was a good thing. The change Midorikawa had to make his life was something out of My Fair Lady. He was born in a long distance outside of Tokyo, and more people there spoke a dialect that didn't match the Tokyo style of speaking. That is the preferred Japanese accent. Midorikawa had to learn how to speak Tokyo style and eliminate his rural accent. I still have that accent problem, he noted. Even for one line I was so conscious of my accent problem that I couldn't say the line. I had to practice to get rid of the accent, and it took a long, long time. 4 days after the close of the convention, the site received a letter from an Otakon official. Now, I don't know if you're aware of a certain rule, but during Otakon 2001, it was mentioned, or supposed to be mentioned during the panel, that any pictures taken of Mr. Guest of Honor were not to be published on the web and were for personal archive use only. And normally I myself wouldn't care, but due to the unforeseeable circumstances during Otakon 01, you'll be doing Otakon a great service by taking your pictures off the web as initially promised. I also probably bet you didn't know about the rules, so no harm really done. But again, Otakon would really appreciate it if you took the pictures down. Thanks so much. Another note from an Otakon official clarified the situation. Due to the contract with Mr. Guest of Honor, agent from King Records, we were unable to secure the rights for online publication of any photos by Mr. M by any organization, including Otakon itself. This announcement, made known to me during the convention itself, was supposed to be announced before Mr. M's panel appearance. We ask that you please respect Mr. M's agent's wishes and remove any images of Mr. M from your website, as breaking them could result in legal ramifications for both Otakon and Fansview.com. I apologize deeply that you were not informed earlier of the policy, and I promise that issues such as this will not arise without prior warning in the future. To prevent further trouble, pictures of this guest have been removed from this site. The creator of Cowboy Bebop's look confirm all that talk about Ed. According to Toshiro Kawamoto, character designer of the Cowboy Bebop series, one of the lead characters changed genders during pre-production and was based on a key member of the production staff. The Bebop team's computer expert Ed was actually a boy in a totally different style, not looking like Ed the girl at all, said Kawamoto. In the process of making the first episode, the producer decided to make Ed a girl. The boy that originally was intended to be Ed was in the fifth episode. Check it. In that episode, there's a sequence where a group of boys are stealing things from a convenience store. The original Ed is one of them. And that character is based on Yoko Kanno, the composer who created Bebop's dynamic music score. The director is a friend of Kanno, and Ed's personality is based off on Kanno. I had no idea who Kanno was until the director told me. I know the Escaflowne theme song, and that was the only thing I could relate to her, except for personality. Ed didn't look like her, but sounds like her. If you ever met Yoko Kanno, you'll think, oh my god, it's Ed. Kawamoto is a former salaryman who grew up as an anime fan in high school. The admitted Gundam lover set his schoolboy goal and becoming an animator. When he grew up, he got some experience from the famed Daikon films, then started to work on the studio that handled animation for Urusei Yatsura. I love my job, he said. When I was a fan, I could only watch anime, but now I'm in the field. I'm very happy with my job. His jobs include work on Ghost in the Shell, his beloved Gundam, and Escaflowne. Kawamoto was pleased when he mentioned those titles, and fans cheered, saying, "You're easy to please, and it's great that you know all about this." Then came his character design work on Cowboy Bebop, which started in 1997. It was a little too spicy for Japanese TV, Kawamoto recalled. When he finished the series, it was during Pokemon seizure incident and some high school stabbings in Japan. When Bebop was done, the television restrictions were tightened for a year, and we weren't able to show it on TV because it was a little too hot. So Bebop went on the Wow Wow satellite network. Think of it as The Sopranos going on the home box office because the show was too racy and violent for broadcast TV. In the same way The Sopranos became a hit without commercial broadcasts, Bebop grew in popularity despite being shown only after midnight. The popularity was so high that a Bebop movie was ordered and planned for release later this year in Japan. The Madhouse Man spoke about his versatile studio. In 1998, Masao Murayama of the Madhouse Animation Studio brought the two series to Anime Expo, Trigun and Cardcaptor Sakura. Those series turned out to be television and home video successes in North America. In 2001, Maruyama brought more series to Otakon fans, samples of new Vampire Hunter D, and the animated introduction of Party 7, a live-action film. While Vampire Hunter and Metropolis are dark melodramas, the Party 7 film was an energetic short that was made in the spirit of Trigun. This writer was left wishing there was more to Party 7 animation than 5 minutes shown at the Otakon panel. Maruyama told fans that his Otakon panel discussion was that Japanese viewers and North American viewers enjoy the same spirit of entertainment. With each title it varies, he said. With Vampire Hunter D, it's a lot of hard action, pure romance. With Cardcaptor Sakura and works with cute characters, it's stories about friendship. Madhouse believes that anime should be created for fun, even with Vampire Hunter D. So we selected a director who can handle that particular style and organize a staff around him. And part of the similarity between Asian and American fans is the number who show their enjoyment of a show through costuming as that show's characters. I'm very pleased. Outside, I saw many cute Sakuras and many Vasha Stampedes, even more cool than the anime version. What's next for Madhouse? Maruyama said that the director of Perfect Blue is making a film to be titled Millennium Actress. Some Digikarat episodes may come to the US. Madhouse is working with Clamp on another new work, and an X short OAV will be released in August to be followed by a TV series in October. The original OAV is complete, and I'm going to bring a sample, but I forgot, he admitted. Will there be more Trigun? It's a difficult question. We're planning on making a new Trigun work, but there's too many issues to resolve. Gun Drive will be the name of the new work. Well, it took almost 25 years, but we have a new Trigun Season 2 that just debuted last Saturday, and once I'm done streaming all this, I will be watching. A Gynex expert tackled FLCL and Evangelion. All right, who is this Gynex expert? And while that is loading, I will have a very hot drink. Just give me one moment here. All right. A few years ago, when Neon Genesis Evangelion was first bending the minds of anime fans, Gainax representatives were prepped with questions about that series in the North America anime conventions. Now, the hot Gainax series for those fans is FLCL, even though it's not due for a North American home video release for months. Kazuya Tsuramaki, who directed FLCL and worked as an assistant director on Evangelion, was in the spotlight of anime fans at Otakon. Just as with Evangelion and its mysterious title, fans wanted to know what the letters in FLCL meant. FLCL means Fooly Cooly, Tsuramaki replied. I thought it meant fool and cool. And at the time, we needed a title desperately, so we used that. I always wanted to make a title from an English name and make it shorter, like Pocket Monsters. One fan at the panel asked if the guitar swinging female character in FLCL came from the old Hanna-Barbera quick draw McGraw cartoons. Simoraki said that the running gag in FLCL came from a popular J-pop star, an edgy person who says she wishes she was a pizza delivery girl. And if I was a delivery girl, I would want my customer to hit me with a guitar. A Japanese band also provided FLCL's music. I wanted to use a lot of Japanese pop culture in FLCL. A lot of anime uses classical music, but I wanted to use a band. And since South Park would become popular in Japan at the same time FLC was produced, there is a South Park parody in FLCL. The Otakon fans still wanted to learn about Evangelion's mysteries and motives. Tsuramaki said he was surprised that Shinji Kari was understood so well by North American Evangelion fans, and Shinji was modeled after the director Hideki Anno. Shinji gets summoned by his father to write a robot, and Anno was summoned by Gainax to make a big animation show after he had a problem with Nadia and the Mysterious Seas, and didn't know if he still wanted to direct. Some fans think the extreme violence at the end of Evangelion was inspired by the fans' disapproval of Anno, but Tsuramaki said that was not the case. It wasn't a bitterness towards the fans. A lot of people think anime should always have happy endings, but that's not always the case. We wanted to educate the fans that anime can have bitter endings. The author's notes were posted from home after an early departure. Alright, so what did Kevin have to say about Otakon 2001? While the majority of Otakon report on the site was hammered out on a laptop that was hauled from around the convention, with stories being written in panel rooms and on carpeted floors, the notes was finished at home, where the author had to rush on Sunday to get back to work. As before, apologies for not being on hand for another convention's final day. So August arrived, and with it, the East Coast version of the unofficial race to become the biggest anime convention. 5 weeks earlier, Anime Expo had drawn 12,000 people to California, where the event was held in the harbor town of Long Beach, at the convention center not far from the berth of the famed sailing ship the Queen Mary. And in Maryland, Otakon was held in this harbor town of Baltimore, at a convention center not far from the berth of a famed sailing ship, the USS Constellation. Otakon staff expected to get 10,000 fans for the weekend. The weather got fans' attention in 2001. The Otakon weekend began with the Friday temperatures in the mid-90s, followed by the cooler weather that dipped all the way to 87 degrees. Fans sweated outdoor heat, but they quickly cooled off in the Baltimore Convention Center's thankfully effective air conditioning. It took a lot of BTUs to cool off the thousands of fans who filled nearly every corner of the three-block facility. For 2001, Otakon moved its main events theater to a ballroom in the newer west section of the convention center. The dealer's room expanded to huge halls in the east side of the center, and the artist alley went in a big hall where the cosplay had been staged 2 years earlier. Early arriving fans had to line up from the Friday afternoon heat, but they were eventually let inside to form their lines where the air conditioning worked. The dealer's room line was unusually long at the first because the part of the convention didn't open until 3 p.m. on Friday, but there was little waiting for the rest of the weekend. Anime Expo drew complaints for being too big and too spread out, using several hotels. Otakon had a different set of complaints, mostly because the Baltimore Convention Center couldn't get all the room blocks they wanted in the inner harbor hotels. The closest and least expensive hotels filled within a few weeks, leaving the late and lazy fans, including procrastinating author of the site, to scramble for housing. The author foolishly passed up the chance to stay in the neat bed and breakfast in favor of a cheaper hotel north of downtown, about a mile north of the convention center. But that sort of thing is what happens when anime conventions grow up. They get more like real conventions because there's no place with enough room to put them except huge hotels and metropolitan convention centers. And Otakon needed all that room. The larger amount of space used by Otakon spread out the crowd, but there was no doubt that this author that attendance was larger in 2001 than in 2000. And the number of costumers was astonishing. The author caught a lot of them in his camera, but many of others got away. On Saturday night, a couple of costumers approached the author and asked, we had a big Escaflowne group all day. Where were you? The author thought hard and realized that he couldn't remember where he had been unless he turned his pictures laptop back and read through the list of pictures. Lots of people at Otakon wanted to know how many pictures the author expected to take with his Olympus C2100 digital camera. So here are the totals: 2,539 pictures in 2 days, which 1,049 were posted on the site, and 999 were costuming pictures. There are 1,381 pictures on the site from the previous month's Anime Expo, and 1,262 of those are costume pictures. On costuming and Saturday night costume contest, it started 90 minutes late. One of the staff members got in an argument with some costumers who were on stage over the music that was played for their act. The announcer kept complaining he was given the wrong information, and everyone seemed more interested in the chair jokes than giving the walk-on entries and the award winners enough time to be recognized on stage. Those missteps were offset by the quality of entries, including a pair of wonderful original dance acts based on J-rock bands and shoujo characters from the X manga series. One entry that the author considered to be a neat story: a girl with a Karo-chan costume from Cardcaptor Sakura wanted to have other girls in Sakura outfits join her on stage, so she searched the convention on Saturday, rustled up 5 Sakuras in 5 different costumes from 5 different places, and got them to enter the costume contest with her. It wasn't the greatest act. The poor girl had to shout and be heard over the audience, but it showed that you can meet new friends at an anime convention without hardly trying. For once, there was no directly competing fandom event on the Otakon weekend. There was a pay for autograph Star Trek convention on the previous weekend in Arlington, Virginia, not far from Otakon's 1998 location near Washington, D.C. But the big entertainment competition this weekend should have been the Madonna concerts on Friday and Saturday in nearby Washington, D.C., and across the street from the convention center was a Hispanic street festival that drew in a large Inner Harbor crowd. More interesting and a lot more frightening was what happened in Baltimore before the convention. First, 3 weeks before Otakon, a freight train exploded into flames in a tunnel west of the Inner Harbor, and the smoke and flames caused large parts of downtown Baltimore to be evacuated. They include Oriole Park at Camden Yards, which is a short distance west of the convention center, where Otakon was found. Firefighters needed nearly a week to put out the fire and drag the charred rail cars out of the tunnel, and collapsed water main forced Baltimore police to close some streets leading to the convention center. Then, a week and a half before the convention, a chemical plant caught on fire about 2 miles north of the convention center. Workers ran for their lives in the surrounding neighborhoods to be evacuated. The day after the fire, a helicopter crashed into the Baltimore-Washington International Airport, killing a pilot and a photographer and closing a runway. The run of trouble left the author hoping that Baltimore would exhaust its bad luck in time for October. It didn't. On Saturday, some booming noises could be heard in the convention center. Some of the sounds were thunder from afternoon storms, but a few may have been explosions from the tripropylene gas that accumulated after the train explosion. The blast blew off some manhole covers and closed some streets, but fortunately they didn't stop the convention. If the big tunnel fire happened during Otakon, it could have led to this cancellation of the event and forced thousands of fans to turn around and go home, unable to close the hotel rooms they had reserved. That's probably going to be among the risks of holding a convention in a big industrial city, which is where you're going to find the fans. Oh, and by the way, there won't be any dramatic head-to-head Otakon versus Anime Expo New York competition in 2002, at least not in the author's opinion, because the events will be 1 month apart. Otakon will be the first weekend of August 2002 back in the Baltimore Convention Center, and Anime Expo event will be held on the first weekend of September next year. Since anime uses cats as characters, it's proper to note that a man who voiced an American cat died a week before the convention. Lorenzo Music was the voice of the animated Garfield, and his dry delivery made the orange tabby more popular on TV than the character had been in newspaper strips. Indiana artist Jim Davis created Garfield and turned the cat into a star, but Music's voice completed the character. In the same way, you can't think of Belle Dandy without hearing Kiko Inoue or Juliet Cesario, the sight of Garfield brings Music's voice to mind. And with that said, that concludes this edition of Fansview Friday, Otakon 2001. Next Sunday, we'll be talking about Anime Los Angeles this year. If you like what we do, donate to our Ko-Fi. Even $5, a dollar goes a long way. It helps us secure parking at conventions, and you know that parking can be expensive. Any help, a way you want to support our channel, what we do, preserving convention history is great. I also have my book, The Fangirl Diaries. You can go ahead and secure your copy online over at Amazon.com. If you are at a convention I'm more than happy to sign a copy of The Fangirl Diaries. More than happy to meet fans and readers. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Fansview Fridays. Hopefully soon we're going to get Isaac again to talk about SoccerCon, because we still need to cover SoccerCon 2001. All right. With that said, thank you so much for tuning in to Fansview Fridays, and we will see you at the con.